Africa CDC, and it is by Africa Reinsurance Group. I'm going to invite the Group Managing Director and CEO to make the announcement. Please welcome Dr. Cornel Karekezi. And you didn't bring a speech. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. So the announcement has been made yesterday. We supported the Peace Fund with $1 million US. We supported the CDC Africa, $500,000 US. But on resource mobilization, as I've mentioned, South Africa is 12% of the GDP is insurance. Nigeria and Ghana, I didn't want to mention the names while the president was here, it's 1%. So if we can make that insurance penetration rate, insurance penetration rate is the premium from insurance divided by GDP. If we can raise it from 1% to 2%, then it's bigger than all the AAMFI balance sheet combined. So we are proposing as Africa Re, through our Africa Re Foundation, where we put 2% of our net profit to finance corporate social responsibility. We are supporting countries who want to partner with Africa Re to develop their national insurance strategy, because that's where it all starts, and to support their disaster risk financing, which is also a major call because of the climate change. So we will be reaching out to all the countries who are willing to partner with us, because we have the expertise, we have the knowledge, and we have the best practice around the world, which we can partner with them to grow that potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. Now we go on to number 3. Now, catalytic capital is so important to bridge the housing and urban infrastructure gap in Africa. To make an announcement about that, I'd like to invite the CEO and MD of an AAMFI member, Shelter Afrique Development Bank. Please welcome Mr. Thierno Habib Han.
Yes, you are totally right. I had a speech, but decided not to read it. And there's a catch to that, because the conversation could be much longer. But just to say that housing is a key priority for our African countries. We have 53 million housing deficits across the continent. We need more than $1.3 trillion. And Shelter Afrique Development Bank is in the process of capital replenishment to address exactly that. So we are very happy that all the prior speakers spoke about reinforcing the capital of our institutions, because it's with that capital that we're going to leverage multiple times in the capital markets to issue bonds. We do a lot of local currency bond issuances. In Nigeria, recently we issued 46 billion nairas out of 250 billion nairas, and this is thanks to our capital base. So it's really critical for our institutions to reinforce our capital, and this is the major announcement for us. We are actually undergoing, as we speak, capital replenishment with 3 classes of shares that we have now approved thanks to our shareholders, the 44 African countries that are members and shareholders of Shelter Afrique, and also the African Development Bank, the founding member, Africa Re, that's in the room as a member of the AAMFI as well. Just to say that we as AAMFI, we are working together to make sure our own institutions are strengthened. So now we have a capital shareholding class which encompasses class A, B, and C, and the class C now can have non-regionals, so we can have non-African countries and institutions join our shareholding So, and working very closely also with partners like Badia, I see them in the room, to really help our countries strengthen their capital within our institution. So capital is the nerve of the game. So we definitely all need to push that. And this is also allowing to address sectors and areas in the housing value chain about job creation, gender, housing for women, and women working in the housing value chain. It's really important to address that. And also inclusive finance for the housing value chain, for job creation for the youth. I loved what Dr. Ngozi just said. When she was speaking, I thought she was reading our strategy, because when we talk about migrant and refugees, the idea for us is create jobs for those populations while building dignified housing. So skill development for those migrants, and keeping our youth on the continent instead of letting them die across the Mediterranean every day. We want to create jobs for them by building large-scale housing programs across our countries that will be financed by diaspora funds that we are also putting in place. So everything that I heard this morning was music to our ears, and our capital replenishment is actually going to address that. Thank you very much.
And thank you, the CEO and MD of Shelter Afrique Development Bank, particularly because you gave me a beautiful segue into the second but last announcement, which is actually a guarantee line to support housing, empower women and youth in the WEMA region. So perfect segue there. To make this announcement, for representing the African Solidarity Fund, is the Director General, Abdul Rahman Diallo.
Thank you. Abdurrahman Diallo is not there. I'm representing him. Thank you very much. African Solidarity Fund, based in Niamey, is a multilateral institution which provides various products, mainly financial guarantee to support raising of funds. We have two ongoing partnerships. The first one is the line of guarantee granted by African Solidarity Fund to Caisse régionale de refinancement hypothécaire de l'UEMOA, CRAH-UMOA, of around 320 million US dollars as part of housing loan guarantee program to support the distribution of housing loan in the WEMU zone. Through the housing loan guarantee, African Solidarity Fund aims to facilitate access to credit and promote sustainable economic growth in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 11, which stipulates the need to ensure universal access to safe and affordable housing and basic service by 2030, while cleaning up precarious areas. This partnership aims to provide access to at least 300 homes per year for people in the Wemu area. This pilot program was approved in January 2024 for a period of 5 years. The second announcement concerns a credit line guarantee around 240 million USD to UN women based in Niger, the office in Niger, as part of a program to promote entrepreneurship and empower women and young people. This project in Niger is an experimental phase with aim of establishing this partnership with UN women offices in all African Solidarity Fund countries members. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations. Now the final presentation initiative comes from an organization that you've just heard a lot about, Badia. And this is an initiative to support the capitalization of African multilateral financial institutions. To present on behalf of Badia, please welcome the Secretary General of Badia, Fatima Farouk El Sheikh.
Thank you so much. I must acknowledge the excellencies that left the room, especially President John Dramani Mahama as the champion of the African Financial Institution, and my dear sister, the Deputy Chairperson, and the presence of Madame Zuma. I am proudly a dear, passionate follower of the Africa we want, the Agenda 2063. Professor Benedict Orama, thank you so much for being a very close partner to Badia, making sure that we are with you in what you are stepping in the continent in development impact. Partners who believes in the importance of development finance in the continent, in transforming the future and building the continent that we want. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. The Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, Badia, since its inception 50 years back, was created as a bridge of shared prosperity between the Arab world and Africa by 18 Arab countries. The bank aims at mobilizing resources from the Arab world towards the sub-Saharan Africa. We are exclusively operational, so we realize that the way we can go is to make sure that we have adequate partnership. And I think we're following the African say, if you want to work far, work together. And basically, we wanted to make sure that what we are harnessing as a AAA rated financial institution with adequate liquidity, and we saw that firsthand in our first bonds issuance. We wanted to make sure that African financial institution has the same leverage, and they are able to access the global market in terms of issuing their debt and making sure that we are helping the countries to leverage their resources in meeting the required debt to participate in equity. We know that the last few years were not easy on shareholders' economies in African financial institutions. Hence, we came with our innovative approach to our Debt for Equity. The Debt for Equity is a program where we are availing loans to the public sector, where they are able to enhance their capital share in the financial institutions. We started with our famous transaction with BOAD, was the first one that we hit the ground with. But I'm very proud that we are at the final stage of finalizing few of these transactions, including with our friends from TDB. We are soon to sign, hopefully. And we are also finalizing with Shelter Afrique, so I think we will be able to do more. One key issue out of the 700 million that we invested through this channel is the ability to leverage and to multiply. Against this 700 million, we were able to leverage 2.5 billion. And I think this is a 2.5 multiplier, if you wish, in the whole amount that we can do. And this is not easy to have a multiplication. Badia recently launched an ambitious program of 18.3 billion for the next 5 years to match the last race of the continent for the SDGs and the last race for the Agenda 2030. I think we need you to program that in a sufficient way, but we need you also to multiply that. So we are hoping that we can allocate 30% for the capital increase out of this 18.3 billion. One final figure to finish with is the fact that we had so far committed 15 billion for the continent since the establishment of the bank. Out of them is actually during the era of Dr. Sidi, who I'm speaking on his behalf, representing the bank, so where he committed 10 billion for the continent during his tenure. And I think we want to leverage that legacy and make sure that we are able to continue, especially with the new alliance that we formed with AAMFI and hopefully the African Development Bank, which is the Arab Africa Financial Consortium that was launched on the margin of the mid-year summit in Ghana under the Ghana Presidency Championship. I want to thank you all for being a good partner to Badia, and I think together we can multiply the resources and we can achieve the development impact that we want in transforming Africa. Thank you. And I had a note, but I didn't go long.
Thank you very much. That concludes the presentations. So we've come to almost to the end of what has been a crucial dialogue. Now, as we leave, let's reflect on the conversations that have unfolded this morning. Discussions that have underscored Africa's immense potential and the pressing need to mobilize African resources to address our continental challenges. We've all got a part to play. Now, this is the last you'll hear from me, Mark Edo, the moderator. I want to say thank you for inviting me. May we continue this important work in the months and years ahead. One more thing to do. I'd like to close us out, to invite Mr. Babajide Shodikbo, Acting Executive Secretary of AAMFI, to close the proceedings.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mark. I'm here to do two simple things. First of all, on behalf of the AAMFI Governing Council and all the members of AAMFI, to offer our most sincere thanks and appreciation to all of you that have come to join us in this breakfast. The second thing I would like to say with regards to next steps is that many ideas have been articulated, and as Ambassador Muchanga directed, we will be coming up with a set of critical issues which we will be presenting through our champion, President Mahama of Ghana, hopefully to get those critical issues endorsed at the African Union Assembly next year. The final thing that I would like to say, which is the most important thing, is to invite all of us to please join us for breakfast. Thank you very much.
Discover the different devices for producing musical sounds, whether it can be an stringed, wind, brass, or a percussive.
Good day. For today's video, we are going to have some quick glimpse of the 26 famous African musical instruments. Number 1.